Money worries are something I'm sure most people have experienced, whether they're worried about debt, financial security in the future, or feeling trapped in teaching because of money. Financial stresses do have a huge impact on well-being. So my guest today is Eileen Adamson. So Eileen has been a teacher for 28 years. She's now working part-time as a PE teacher. She teaches financial education for a charity. She runs her own website offering financial advice. She hosts her own podcast, which is called the Your Money Sorted Teachers podcast, and she also co-hosts the BBC podcast Clever About Cash. So I know Eileen has so much valuable information to share with you. So let's just get straight to the interview. So Eileen, thank you so much for joining me on the Teachers Podcast today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here, Claire, and looking forward to chatting to you.
Yeah, me too. So we've been in contact for quite a while. This has kind of been on the cards for a bit, and it's something that I'm really interested in sharing with our listeners. So first up, money. It's always a tricky thing to talk about, isn't it? So can you explain to our listeners, why you're here and what you're going to help them with?
So money, yes. I mean, we're happy to talk about sex, we're happy to talk about periods, we're happy to talk about anything, but don't ask us to talk about money. And we really need to talk about money because it's so vital in our lives. So what I do is I help teachers to take control of their money, but not just their money, take control of their life as well, because money just affects all parts of our life. So it's about helping them to create financial security essentially, but it's also about helping them to look and see what they can do with their money that is going to make them happier, that's going to make them healthier, and that's also going to make them wealthier. So it's about improving financial well-being, and much of it is about looking at your money to see what you can do with that money that is going to make you happier. Because essentially that's what we all need to be. And the way that I do this is we kind of first of all start looking at money mindset, because that is the thing that many people don't realise that is the biggest difficulty that we have with money. And it's not about adding up the figures. It's about how we feel about money and about how we deal with money, about how we were brought up to think about money, and that's often the thing that's holding us back. So from there, we look at money mindset, and then it's all about getting the kind of proper steps in place to help people to create a much more financially secure future. So we look at retirement and how to prepare for retirement more effectively, but we also look at creating like a small emergency fund, getting debts paid off. We look at how to spend your money so that your money is going to make you happier. Sorry, I'm choking there. How your money is going to make you happier. So it's about looking at your values as well to see where you're spending your money and which of those spends are making you happy and which are not. And once you've identified that, the rest of it falls into place so much more easily.
It's about awareness, isn't it? You might be surprised to know this, but I'm actually doing Money Bootcamp at the moment with Denise Duffield-Thomas.
So am I.
Are you? All right. Okay.
Yeah, I'm in there. It's brilliant.
It is really
it's so good.
And I think the thing is, it kind of just shows you, doesn't it? So obviously Classroom Secrets, we've got quite a number of staff, so obviously the turnover is of a certain amount, but it doesn't really matter. You can still have money mindset issues, and it's more about your awareness, and you never stop having issues. You might think that oh, I'm okay, but you can always kind of upgrade your money mindset no matter where you are.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, so really helpful, thank you. Sorry, were you going to say something then?
No, I was just going to say, yes, I totally agree with that, Claire. And often people don't realise that money mindset's the issue. We tend to think that, oh, I overspend because I'm stupid, or because I'm so easily persuaded or so easily tempted. But it's genuinely not that. It's we need to look inside ourselves, and there's generally something going on. And often teachers are so blooming stressed that causes an issue with money, because you feel terrible inside yourself. A lot of it's like overeating, it's like overspending. they all come from this place inside us, and that's where dealing with that has an unbelievable impact on people.
Yeah.
And it's great to hear that you're in Money Boot Camp, because it's amazing.
Oh, it is really good. And do you know what? It's, mindset of a teacher as well, isn't it? And, you might be listening and you might think, well, I'm okay. I don't have any, money mindset issues, and that's great. I'm really pleased for you. But for me as well, it's that whole, when you're teaching, you're always giving, all the time giving, and it can just spread into so many areas of your life, such as money, and then you think, why do I not have any left? Why do I not have any for my future? Why can I not retire when I think that I should?
You're totally right, and it is in the nature of a teacher to be very giving, and that can come over into your money really easily. And the way it manifests a couple of ways is that we're just naturally giving, so therefore we just give to more and more people, and we spend money to do that. But another way that it affects teachers is that because we're so stressed and often feel guilty that we're not spending time with our family, we tend to be over-giving financially there as well, because we feel guilty, and we kind of throw money at the problem. And it's brilliant to be able to take a step back and look at all that and actually deal with what the issue is. And it's the fact that I can help people improve their financial well-being and improve their stress is just amazing, because it then has an impact on what you're doing in the classroom, because you feel less stressed about your money, and you also become more aware about the way you think, the things you do, and it has an impact on your money, but it also has an impact on your teaching and your stress levels in the classroom as well.
I also feel like, obviously money isn't the be all and end all, but feeling in control of it will make you feel happier, because, like you say, you're going to feel like you're getting what you want out of life rather than giving for what everyone else wants out of life.
Yeah, that's right. We tend to not think about ourselves. We tend to think about everybody round about us. And one of the exercises that I do with people is look at your values and what your main values are, and then look at your spending for the last couple of months and allocate a value to each spend. And what you often find is that people are going, oh, right, so I'm spending money on stuff that means absolutely nothing to me.
Yeah.
And once you identify that, it's then so much easier to then stop spending money on that stuff, because you go, oh, well, no, means nothing to me. I'm going to divert my money to other places.
Yeah. I love this conversation. I knew that I would love this so much. So, why is it important then for teachers to get to know the pension and make steps to improve their financial being? Why is it so important?
Oh my goodness. It's so the teacher's pension has changed, and the teacher's pension is confusing. And what so many teachers, myself included in the past, did was, well, it's far too confusing. There's no way I'm going to understand it, so I'm just going to ignore it. And I did that to my peril, because I discovered that after 20 years of teaching, some of it part-time, but after 20 years of teaching, my pension was going to be £6,000. Now, I had planned to retire at 55 and go travelling with my husband for a year. We had the camper van picked out almost, and this was happening. And then I went, oh, I can't do that on £6,000 a year. So I spent a couple of years kind of, I don't know, beating myself up for being so stupid to not realise that going part-time was going to affect my pension. And then after a couple of years of thinking that I was going to have to work till I was 67, perhaps 68, because that my age group is the one that's looking at getting our state pension age put up to 68, and teacher's pension is now, the care scheme is now you get your teacher's pension when you get your state pension. So therefore I was thinking, right, I'm going to have to teach until I'm 67, 68 now. I cannot be prancing about a gym in Lycra at the age of 67 or 68 supporting fourth year boys to do handstands and stuff. I mean, it's just not possible. No. So I spent a few years really in the doldrums and thinking that I'd messed up my whole life. Then, look, this is ridiculous. You need to do something about it. And I have. And I now know that I can retire at 55. And what I want to do is to help other teachers be aware of the fact that you'll still get your final salary scheme you can take it at 60 or 65 depending on when you joined it, but the care scheme, you won't get your full teacher's pension until state pension age. So I just want to raise awareness of that and help teachers to realise that there's other ways of preparing for retirement. There are additional options within the teacher's pension, but we need to start considering these, and we need to start considering them as early in life as possible. And there's a lot of great help out there, but when you go on the Teachers Pensions website, a lot of it's just gobbledygook. And I read through some of it and I'm like, I'm sure they could have said that in about 5 words rather than 105. And I try and demystify it, make it simple, enthuse people about finding out about their pension and about finding out how to prepare for retirement and about doing it without being miserable in the meantime. This is not about saving every single penny for retirement and living a rubbish life until then. It's about putting the steps in place to lead a really nice retirement, to be able to retire whenever you want, but without living like a pauper in the meantime, because we need to also enjoy our lives as well.
Yeah, it sounds amazing. So alongside then is one of the things that I'm just thinking, like, how's this work? Is one of the things that you suggest. So obviously you're looking at your teacher's pension and you've got a really clear idea about how much you're going to get because you're forecasting. You know, is it about having other investments as well so that you can then retire when you want to?
Yeah, so there's options within the teacher's pension that you can buy additional pension, and you can use faster accrual, which simply means that you pay more in and you get more out at the other end. It's about comparing those options and having a look to see which one might work for you. But it's also about perhaps thinking about starting a passive income stream. It's also about perhaps thinking about investing in property, investing in stocks and shares, perhaps having another personal pension. It's just about considering all these options and making it work for you, so that my intention is that I can retire at 55, but that I won't need to take my teacher's pension then, because I've started a business, I've got investments, I've got property, and it's all about helping other teachers to realise that they can do the same without being burnt out, without living a miserable life in the meantime.
Oh, I love this so much. I'm always telling the team, you need to be thinking about your pension, you need to be thinking about your investments. So this is so good, thank you. So I'll get all the team to listen to this as well.
Good stuff.
Okay, so why are you so passionate then about helping teachers improve their financial well-being?
2 reasons. Firstly, because I don't want anybody to feel the way that I did and look at their pension and panic and then freeze and do nothing and spend so much time beating themselves up about it. So it's raising awareness to help people there. But it's also about, I think so many people feel stuck in teaching just now, and the stress that brings up is just massive. So I want to help people to remove that stress, so that my ideal is if I can help people to remove financial stress and remove the thought that they're going to have to teach until they're 68. If I can help them to do that, then I hope that I can help more good teachers to stay in the classroom and to be happy in the classroom. Because the last thing I want to do is encourage a mass exodus of teachers and get everybody to save up a kind of leaving teaching fund and then leave teaching. If that's what you want to do and you're desperate to get out of teaching, then that is one thing that we can do, is create that. But I also want to help good teachers who are stressed because of money and because of the lack of control over their lives. I want to help them to remove that stress and see if that does help them to stay in the classroom. Because the situation we're in just now is pretty dire for a whole profession. So
it really is,
I don't want to add to that.
And it might be as well, might it? That if they're working on these investments and things, that then, to be happier, they want to be part-time, but then maybe they can afford that as well, which is an important thing, isn't it, at the end of the day?
Yes, absolutely. That is how I found my love of teaching again, was because I don't have to be there 5 days a week. I went part-time after I had 3 children, and I found my love for teaching again, and I'm only in 2 days a week, but I absolutely love it, and I love going in with the kids. And I think the biggest thing for me is that I can say no to things that I don't want to do, to things that I think are ridiculous, to things that I think are tick box exercises. I'm just like, nope, not doing it. I'm not interested. And because I know that I can leave whenever I want, it brings you into a really powerful position. Rather than feeling stuck and powerless, you can make decisions much more easily because you're much more relaxed about it.
Yeah.
And that's what I want for other people.
Yeah, and it does change your mindset, doesn't it? And I think, we're talking about 68 being the new pension age, but what's going to be the one after that? I don't know when I'll be able to draw my teacher's pension. Not that there's anything in it. Probably not even £6,000 a year. But, what age is that going to go up to? We just don't know, do we? But it's going to rise, absolutely.
Yeah, that's right. And we're now at the mercy of the government and when the state pension rises. And as you say, it is going to rise. So what teachers need to be doing now, and teachers from whenever they enter the profession, we need to be considering other methods of preparing for retirement and other investments, and maybe paying more into the teacher's pension scheme so that you've got the flexibility to do what you want, and you're not left stuck having to teach until the age of 68 or 69 or 70, who knows? Mm. But you're not left in that position having to teach later and later on in life.
Yeah, because it's not a profession that you can do later on. I mean, they retire firemen early for a reason, don't they? It's very physical, it's very full on. Probably shouldn't moan about this anymore. So, what 3 actionable steps can you share then for teachers to be clear on the finances?
So first thing I would encourage all teachers to do is get their pension statement. So you can do that by logging on to Teachers' Pensions if you're down south or in Wales, or into SPPA in Scotland, and get a pension statement and just work out how much you're likely to get. If you've been in the scheme for a while, you will have pre-2015, you will have a final salary scheme pension, and you will also have a care scheme pension. If you've only come into the profession since 2015, you'll only have the care scheme. There's slight differences about it, but you just need to know how much you've got there. From there, you can then make decisions based on your wants and your needs for retirement. So I would encourage everybody to do that so that they know what the situation is. The second thing I would encourage everybody to do is to maximise the money that they've got now. Whether that means that you want to spend some of that then to invest in your pension and to invest in your future, that's fine. But even if your future's already sorted, I would encourage everybody to maximise the money they've got just now. And a really simple way of doing that is by doing a 15-minute makeover. And the way I suggest doing it is printing off a bank statement. I know it's not good for the environment, but it is good for teachers. Print off a bank statement and then grab 3 highlighters, nice wee coloured pens. Who doesn't love a coloured pen? So grab them, and then one colour for needs, one colour for really wants, and one colour for can do withouts. Simply whiz down through the bank statement, allocating a colour to each. Then what you can do is you can easily see, with the can do withouts, you can easily see where you can cut those. The really wants and the needs, you can look at them and see if you can reduce those in any way. And then that's a very, very simple, quick way of looking at your money, looking at what you're spending over the last month, and identifying where you can easily save money. And my third tip is come and listen to my Your Money Sorted Teachers podcast. I just started it this year, and inspired by you, Claire, because I've listened to your podcast for a while, and I just like the kind of conversational nature that you've got in your podcasts. And that's what I'm aiming for in my podcast. It's not a stuffy, boring money podcast. It's chatting to real people, real teachers about real money events and real money problems, and looking at the solutions for those for teachers. So I'd love if you would come along and listen to Your Money Sorted Teachers podcast.
That's super. Thank you, Eileen. I've listened to your podcast and I can say it's really helpful, so you should definitely go listen to it. It's also really good quality because we launched our podcasts with the same person as well. So we know we're doing it well, aren't we?
That's right. We're trying to be professional and doing it well indeed.
Exactly. The funniest thing you said there in that section, I was like, oh, I've got so much to comment on. The fact that you said if you're down south, and I thought, what about in the north? But you mean that I'm down south. I've never been called down south before. I don't know how I feel about that.
Sorry. See, we just say everybody south of the border is down south. But yes, you are up north, down south.
Exactly. So for me, everybody's down south, and I'm not.
That's funny.
But now I am.
No, that's funny. No, you're not really. You're not really down south.
Yeah, but I kind of am to you.
Yes.
It is a bit warmer down here, so yeah.
It's certainly not here.
Yeah, but the the statement exercise, I'm still going to do that because I think it's really, really helpful. I think even if you feel like you have everything figured out, I just love little tips like that, and I think I'm going to try it anyway because I might learn something.
Yeah.
Even now, I'm doing a course about productivity. I'm very productive, but I'm like, what's the 10% that I don't know that I could learn? And I just think everyone should try that.
Yeah, I mean, being teachers, I think we love learning anyway. And yes, that I absolutely love learning and love all that I've learned through my business and things. But the money makeover, you often think that, it's going to be a really boring, tedious process. But it's not. It's 15 minutes, boom, 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 it's done. And you can easily identify the issues. So it's definitely worth doing.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so much. Where can we find out more about you?
Well, probably my website is the best place. Pop over to my website at yourmoneysorted.co.uk, and in there you'll find links to my social media, you'll find links to lots of free resources, to lots of blog posts, and to my podcast as well. So I'd love to see you over there at yourmoneysorted.co.uk.
Super, you should definitely listen. What day do you release your episodes?
Well, I do seasons, so they will be released. The next season's starting shortly, and they will be released on a Friday morning.
A Friday morning, you see, doesn't conflict. You listen to the Teachers Podcast on Tuesday, Your Money Sorted on Friday. Right. Right, well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, and I'm glad we finally got this in the diary.
Yeah, no, my pleasure, Claire. I've really enjoyed chatting to you this morning. Absolutely fantastic.